No, not video.
Talking with famous people. Put on your meat belt, Kimberly. You see the blood on her back. Poor girl.
That is blood.
I'm at a client's house, behind her house, smoking a cigarette on break here. Here in Glendora, went to this Argentinian restaurant called Rica's at Empanadas. Behind me over there is the Foothill Medical Arts building. Be careful while crossing the street, Kimberly. Hurry, hurry, hurry. She evaded death by just a fraction of a second. Well, I got pulled over after dropping Haley off. I don't know why. I stopped at the Goodwill here to smoke pot in the parking lot, and I don't even doodle around looking inside. It's just not very many good deals at the Goodwill. The Goodwill is not called Good Deals for a reason. Well, Kim, this is an important occasion.
Why?
This is a special moment.
This is retarded.
We only have a limited number of these special moments together.
Why are you dying?
Well, we're all dying someday, Kim.
I mean, are you dying soon?
Not as far as I know. Man, these parrots are going crazy in the neighbor's tree. I'm trying to figure out what this sound of like rocks dropping all over the place was. We're neck deep in this project with the chickens and the coop and stuff. And then what happened?
Property management sent me a letter that the city sent him.
Okay.
That within our city limits, we're not allowed to have livestock.
I saw this lady smack her little kid on the butt a couple times on the way to the car. There's a group of like 5 Mexicans, like a mother and 4 kids. And, you know, Mexicans are much more smacky than are white people in general. Depending on how it's done, I guess. I'm not inherently appalled by it, or typically I'm not. But tonight, I just generally felt inherently appalled by it. Like, the kid was, I don't know, 4? Go over to the right lane.
Maybe I can get Colin to give me his team.
All the way over. It's huge. It's just like one arm of it is just boom. Wow. So big.
You know, we could have had chickens if we didn't start out with any roosters.
Goddamn roosters.
The roosters are what blew the whistle. Nothing else.
You can maybe see all the crap that they're dropping down. You can hear all the noise they're making. Looks like big action afoot across the street at Citrus College, where some young men will be tonight playing a game of American football.
An order of sweet potato fries. And what do you want to drink?
I would like a cup of coffee. And this is Ethan's first game back from injury. He's a wide receiver. Apparently fairly skilled. I haven't ever seen him play really, but.
And he said these are his new friends, Skylar and Tukey.
It's barbaric. You can feel the resonance of that truth in that moment and yearn to generalize out and say that's a defining truth. Is that Tukey or Skylar?
Tukey.
Oh,
Tukey's a turkey.
That's a turkey?
He has a turkey, he has a guinea fowl, he has a peacock. Or is that what guinea fowl is?
No, guinea fowls are different than peacocks. Peacocks are peafowl.
Okay, so he has peafowl, guinea fowl, peacock.
Well, peacocks are part of peafowl.
Okay.
This is what they call classic American football. The general sort of 70s feel of the whole thing reminds me very much of the building in which my grandparents owned a pharmacy in Pasadena up until I was in middle school or so. I kind of...
Well, you didn't really tell me you were doing it until you jumped out of the car.
I said Chinese fire drill.
I know, but...
The Chinese people have such a strange way of doing fire drills. They get in and out of cars and run around them. And
is that what Chinese actually do?
Yes, Kim, that's how they do fire drills in China. When I was in 5th grade, my grandfather was murdered by being shot 7 times.
It's time for the kickoff! Yes! It's time for the kickoff! Yes! It's time for the kickoff!
Prentice Juan Snow, who killed my grandfather to prevent him from testifying. I'm making the linkage here because I read for the first time just the other night all the Supreme Court stuff against Prentice Juan Snow in a robbery case. And he killed my grandfather during the lunch break of that case. That's called epiphyllum.
Somebody, I bought those ferns from, and they gave me a piece of this, and she said, put it in the ground and it'll grow, like, you know, like a cactus, but...
Our attendance at this football game was rather long in the making, not an arbitrary thing at all. Ethan is both a client of Kimberly and the son of Kimberly's longtime friend Sarah, an ESTP with whom I've become friends as well since I've begun my relationship with Kimberly. Ethan plays for the Laverne High School football team. Both Ethan and Sarah wanted us to go watch him play. But on this particular evening, storylines more complex than those of football dominated our thoughts.
But I did the research. I found many families within the city of Laverne that also have chickens. And what I did read on the city's website was that we were allowed to have 2 chickens.
That's why normally I don't ride in the car. But in this instance, I got out of the car and played Chinese fire drill with Kim. And then when I got back to the car, Kim was driving, and I figured she wasn't going to pull over and let me take over anymore because she didn't want to do the Chinese fire drill in the first place. And these walnuts, I guess they're walnuts. You see them all along here. You see them up in the tree a little bit too, the walnuts. Yeah, epiphyllum, and they make really quite spectacular flowers.
Oh. And isn't it also fruit? Dragon fruit?
I don't know about that. But then there's also the times when you get hit and maybe it's appropriate. I can think of a few times when I got hit and it was appropriate. I needed to get hit. I got hit once by my parents, my whole childhood. My mom slapped me once.
She's getting tired of sitting, so whenever I get her out in the morning, I hold her up and she just flaps her wings, you know, and gets like just to stretch a little bit.
Well, let's step back a moment. The reason Sarah knows Kimberly at all is because Kimberly's first boyfriend and first true love is Sarah's brother Shane. Now, Kim was still a teenager when she dated Shane, but the relationship ended in a most dramatic and unsatisfying fashion. Shane's parents packed him up and shipped him off in the middle of the night to some sort of boot camp rehab, informing Kimberly that she was forbidden from speaking to him or seeing him ever again. After a period of some months, Shane and Kim each moved on, but their parting from one another was never voluntary. And at the time anyway, neither party got any sort of closure about the thing. Well, I did. So,
Alright, Eric. There you go. Make sure you get the windows fixed, okay?
mm-hmm.
Alright, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Right here is where once sat our current coop roof. I saw it sitting out here, and I asked her if she was getting rid of it. She said, "Oh, it's got tar all over it, so you don't want it." And I said, "Oh, I want it, and I'll give you 40 bucks for it." She said, "Don't worry about it, you can have it." I've hit her on a couple of occasions, but it's weird. It's not like punch her or something, but sometimes you just slap her on the leg or something. Say, "Stop!" She makes me so. She used to. She doesn't anymore, but she used to make me so unbelievably angry. More angry than anyone has ever made me in my life. Just stunningly angry. Is it such that the meaning is the thing? Does the thing mean nothing? Is it such that the meaning is what's important, or is it such that being's important, or is it such the meaning is the way to see? Is this meaning more impressive to you than me? And can you believe in the dream of days filled with laughter and good times forever and ever and ever? Somebody from the office came down to get me from class. I was in 5th grade. It was the middle of the morning, like 10 or 11 in the a.m. Well, actually, it must have been around noon because it was during lunchtime. They got me out of class. They took me up there and they said, "Your dad's here. Your dad's coming to get you right now. Something serious has happened." And then my dad came and told me my grandfather had been killed, murdered. I didn't know how to react. I didn't really feel anything, you know. I just thought, oh, that sounds serious. When we were going to my grandmother's house, my grandmother was very distraught, understandably. And she was never the same after that. You know, that was the beginning of the end. Prior to Al's murder, Gladys was a vibrant, if aging woman. After his murder, she was an old lady.
Many reasons I ended up with more chickens than I think we had both intended on.
Ducky was a gift, right?
Yes.
I remember, like, hitting her one time and being like, you know, it was playful. It wasn't like I hit her. It was a playful thing, but feeling the need to actually put some arm into it. Spanked her. And thinking, like, God, that felt good. Like, fuck you, woman. Courthouse in Pasadena was very close to my grandfather's pharmacy. Prentice Juan Snow had on a motorcycle helmet. Anyway, it's an interesting case. He's on death row currently in California. My grandfather's murderer. That's what that building reminds me of. We're gonna go see your old people from olden days.
No, we're not. We may not at all.
Or we may. Which old people were we talking about? That's right, Shane. The very same Shane who would be in attendance at that game that Kimberly and I were going to see, and who wanted to talk to Kimberly, specifically about his sister who was struggling. And that's the other element of this story. Sarah's had a rough year or so, and is currently without a place to live. Now, beyond her friendship with Sarah and her history with Shane, Kimberly maintains relationships with the mother and Sarah's sister who lives locally. In contrast, Sarah had become quite angry with her family and the approach that her family took towards the issues Sarah was facing. Sarah diligently avoided Shane during Shane's visit, and Sarah was additionally on the outs with her sister Jamie. That left Kim and I functioning as something of a de facto family. At the very least, we were respectable friends who were welcoming and far removed from the life that had begun to spiral into seedier and seedier circles for Sarah. I refer to them as flactus as well, which is a...
Over here.
Yeah, that's going to be a flower. And they're quite spectacular flowers.
So, can you actually grow this plant from its leaf?
Yeah, you just stick one bit in there and it grows. Just like any kind of...
Okay, let's go, Bobo.
kind of, what do you call it? Succulent.
Flog your bosom with your meat belt before the car starts beeping. I hate to think of the kind of fights Kim and I would have if I were drinking. We've had just hugely dramatic fights.
My job, I'd be fine with it.
If that were Kimberly's subjunctive mood.
If that were my job, then I would.
Then I would. If that were my job, then I would. That's how to use subjunctive mood. But you know, all those fights ended maybe a month ago now. But the key things to note are we were fighting from day one until things did change. And the event that marks the clear dividing line between the old way and the new way was when I got Kimberly pinned down and she had to acknowledge some shit.
It's an old cactus right there. And your mom's face is an old cactus as well. We are here at this Argentinian restaurant.
Sweet beef, the saltino of Bonita, the eggplant, and a pate.
First, Dan.
These have to be the biggest aloe plants I've ever seen. It's just regular aloe as far as I can tell. I asked the lady, she said, yeah, it's just aloe. You can see where there's been cut up off, somebody's been using pieces of it.
All right, we're ready, Clyde.
What do you got here, Kim?
All right.
You got a hat?
Yeah. All right. The only clothes I can afford in my life is thrift store clothes, so they're leaving all the good things to me.
Oh, you poor deprived woman.
Let's try a little bit of it. Let's get a little bit of this aloe and see if it's extra good. Where do I have a cut? I have a little cut right here on my hand.
Well, I'm kind of bummed for your dad that he's not getting a new car.
Just give it a few weeks. Oh my God. That is
Shut up, Eric.
Looks most delicious. Ooh, delicious cake. Ooh.
Within 5 hours, I found new homes for all of the chickens, and my whole project slash, newfound hobby that I was really enjoying and looking forward to being a part of our, family, the rug got taken out from under me, and so
stunning.
you didn't even look.
I look, oh my God, it's beautiful. I see all our friends and stuff, and
More unimportantly.
they're going to judge.
No, what are you talking about? Well, get away from my face with them.
I'm not even in your face. I'm focusing on the coffee. Plus your delightful, kind, and lyrical, musical words of love.
Okay, this is way too dark. I need something white.
It has nothing to do with that.
Why are you nervous about it then?
They're going to want to talk to me, and I want to talk to them. What are you... I'm an ISFJ. When I get out into public...
Well, Kim, why else would you be nervous if you weren't?
It's not nervous. It's anxious. I don't...
anxious.
Because I'm an ISFJ and I don't like to be out of the house.
Would you like to wear the headband?
Yeah.
Okay, that probably would help you be a little bit more relaxed.
Well, then let me have it.
Okay, fine.
you.
7-Eleven since I was like 3. This is where I used to get my Slurpees.
This is where she used to get her Slurpees.
And I was only this many.
When she was only 3.
Is it me?
It looks great. Yes. Alright, Tiger, you get on in there and you get yourself that coffee and get hyped, baby. Get hyped. I want to see hype from Kim. I want to see it. What? Okay, my precious darling. Here I come. We can still have red.
No, we cannot.
Why not?
Because we're not allowed to have chickens.
You said we were allowed to have 2 chickens.
No, I said the research that I did said that we were allowed to have 2 chickens.
I'm playing this $3,300 trial. I want to get one song down on this recording before we go. Kim's in a big hurry. She hates.
It's called I Have to Work.
Every life lived reaches a time when the road splits in 2. There are times, dark times, times of despair, times when it's hard to feel good. That's when I look for that sack full of solvency and that satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Strawberry shortcake. Okay.
So then when I got the letter from the city,
Does it say on
it
the
says
letter?
no chickens. So what I read was obviously wrong.
Hand me the creamer, please.
Non-dairy creamer coming right up. I like your shirt. It's got pansies on it. I don't know if you're aware of this, but pansies are among nature's wimpiest flowers.
I have found Red a new proper home once
Once she's recovered.
because she's also, at this point, the reason why I have kept her is because she's been severely injured.
She's a fighter, that Red.
She's an ugly fighter.
And boy, did she have an ally in Kimberly. One last somewhat sordid detail. When Shane and Kim parted ways as teenagers, it would not be the last they would see of each other. The 30 years since the dashing of their teen love had seen a number of revisits and rekindlings of physicalities. I'm a pretty jealous person in general, so this was certainly an opportunity for me to feel threatened if I wanted to take advantage of it. The simple truth is, Kim ended things with Shane a couple years before I came around. Shane was not then and is still not available. As a consequence, she moved on. But more significantly than any of those factors, I think the reason why I let them have their conversation and really didn't worry about it, didn't care much, is because Kim and I have been together now for over a year and a half. We've gotten to know each other pretty well. And I get her. And she gets me. And what I get about her reveals that I've got nothing to worry about. Talking with famous people. That's good pushing on the lid there, Kim. You can get your bachelor's degree in that.